Okie dokie. How you guys doing? How are you guys doing? A quick boxing stream. I've not done one of these in, God, I'm not even sure how long. Maybe a month, something like that. So I thought I would fire up a stream, talk some boxing. Not too much going on this weekend, to be honest. It's actually quite a quiet weekend. But next weekend there's a couple of cards, notably headlined by Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. And I think there's also a card in America, PBC card, I want to say. So next weekend for boxing is kind of back on track. But yeah, this weekend is kind of quiet. It's kind of quiet. Very good question, Celtic 99. I've been thinking about this a lot because I do miss live panels. Potentially not today, to be honest with you. I'm not particularly in the mood. I'm not really in the mood. I've had a few drinks, just want to chill, to be honest with you. But I kind of want to do more live discussions. Yeah, I will do it at some point, but I'll let you guys know further when it comes. Big up to Carlos Mendoza. Salute. Angel Joel Espinoza. What's up, man? How you doing? How you doing? Hopefully you guys are doing well. Yeah, this weekend, man. This weekend is quiet as fuck in regards to boxing. I've really picked a fucking shit time to do it. But let's have a look on the schedule. I'm pretty certain there's nothing this weekend. Nothing of any consequence. Yeah, there's nothing at all. But next weekend is actually relatively interesting. Next weekend is interesting. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look on the 8th of October. We have some fights. But yeah, this weekend there's it's a lot of shit, really. It's a lot of shit. There's a card in America and I forget who's on it. Okay. 1 second. I want to see. Obviously, yeah, like I said, it's Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn next weekend. The undercard to that fight is dreadful, by the way. Absolutely awful. So you've got Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. Let's have a look in America. So in America, on Showtime, PBC, Sebastian Fundora versus Carlos Ocampo. Fundora is good fun to watch, but I would imagine he wins that fight comfortably. Carlos Adames versus Juan Macias Montiel. That's a good fight, actually. Montiel gave Jamal Charlo a pretty hard fight not so long ago. Carlos Adames is a good fighter. Coming off a win over Sergey Derevyanchenko. He was a good amateur. That's a good fight at middleweight. That's actually for the WBC interim middleweight title. So that's a decent fight. You've got the rematch, actually, between Fernando Daniel Martinez and Jerwin Ancajas. Ancajas, of course, was the former long-reigning IBF super flyweight champion. He lost that fight first time around to Martinez, and he's got a rematch. And also, the return of Kavalauskas. Kavalauskas is fighting Mikhail Fox, which is a pretty good fight in itself. So that card in America, it's not actually that bad. The main event is a bit weak, but it's a pretty good card. What's up, DMD? How you doing? Honestly, bro, Joe Joyce versus Andy Ruiz. I think Ruiz just I think he just gets outworked. Can he outbox Joe Joyce? No. I don't think he can hurt Joe Joyce. And that to me spells disaster for Andy Ruiz because he's just going to get walked down, outworked, and beat up. I can't see how Andy wins that fight. I really can't. Joe Joyce has a granite chin. Joe Joyce can outwork him. He can keep him on. He can jab and he can keep him on the end of that jab. Joe Joyce wins that fight for me comfortably. What's up, Larry Merchant? How you doing? Big stiff idiot. I'm doing well, man. I'm not doing too bad. A little bit coldy. But I ain't doing too bad. I've had today off and I've got tomorrow off as well. So I would say I'm chilling, but like I've fucking got so much shit to do. But yeah, I'm doing my thing. Trying to get by in this crazy, crazy world. You know? Trying to get by in this mad, mad world. You got to Dental for Squeaker. What's up? How you doing? Yeah, the undercard weren't too bad. And I really enjoyed Joe Joyce's performance. I know that fight was relatively one-sided, but in terms of like performances, that was one of my favorites of the year. I enjoyed it. I like Joe Joyce, man. I like Joe Joyce. Oh yeah, there's no doubt now. Joe Joyce is a top 5 heavyweight. Obviously, you've got Fury and Usyk right now. You know, match them how you want to match them. Who's number 1, who's number 2. After that, you've got Wilder, Joshua, and Joyce. Joyce is absolutely a top 5 heavyweight. No doubt about it. And Joe Joyce gives everyone a hard fight. I'm not saying he beats everybody, but nobody's going to have an easy night with Joe Joyce. Unless they clean him out early on, nobody's going to have an easy night with Joe Joyce. Just so strong, physically imposing, hits hard, good punch output, great chin. One thing about Joe Joyce as well, his foot speed is underrated. People always talk about his slow hands, but Joe's feet are actually quite quick for a man of his size. Closes for distance really well, really efficiently. Top 5 heavyweight, no doubt. What's up, Lee? How you doing? How you doing, man? Splendid. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say splendid, bro. The world's going to shit right now, man. The world's going to shit. The pound is plummeting in value. Inflation through the roof. It's going crazy, bro. It's going crazy. Yo, the UK right now, man, I swear to God, we are heading for some crazy, crazy shit. What's up, Mark, man? Oh, Archive of Sorts. What's up, man? Long time no see. Yeah, I thought I'd fire up a live stream, man. I feel like shit, but I thought I'd fire one up. Usyk's gonna surely drop the WBO rather than fight Joyce. Not enough money for the risk. I think he'll fight Joyce if he has to. You know, it is what it is. But I'd like to see it. I mean, if Alexander Usyk isn't fighting Joyce next, if Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk are not fighting next, I think one of those guys has to see Joe Joyce. What's Tyson Fury doing? Who the fuck knows? I mean, he's talking about fighting Manuel Charr. If he fights Manuel Charr, I don't even want to hear his fanboys excuse that. That's fucking nonsense. Manuel Charr's a bum. I don't use that term often, but Manuel Charr's a fucking bum. It's just that simple. He's shit. Manuel Charr hasn't been relevant. He was never relevant, to be honest. He sucks. Bum fighter. Salute Dell. I think Joyce could very well become a champion if given the opportunity. He's better than what I initially thought by a significant margin. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I was doubtful of Joe Joyce. I was doubtful of his style going into the pros. I knew that he was physically imposing. I knew that his punch output was quite high in the amateurs. But I always kind of doubted that he could do that over 12 rounds. But it seems like he can. He can do it over the long period. And he's got a great chin. Underrated jab. Quick feet for a guy of his size. Moves well. He does, yeah. He's one of those guys, yeah, even if you beat him, even if you can beat him, he's going to take something out of you. That's why this guy's going to struggle to get fights. Because he's going to take something out of you. Regardless if you win, It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I never saw it. I heard the result and I never watched it, to be honest with you. All I've really seen is like low blow highlights, to be honest. But I've not seen it. I've not seen it. I kind of expected it, though, Shakura by UD. Do you think Golovkin fights Lara or vacates the WBA belt and fights somebody else, maybe Munguia, in a money fight? I don't think he'll fight Lara. I think Golovkin, as soon as he signed back to the zone deal, I think he basically sold out, to be honest. He's basically a mercenary at this point in time. So if he could get the Munguia fight, he will vacate, no doubt. No doubt. I don't think so, Lee. I don't think so. They're talking about December, right? What is it, the 3rd of December? It's too soon, man. I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening. I think Tyson Fury, maybe he'll fight Manuel Charr, maybe he'll fight a tune-up, and that's really what's going to happen. Joyce Wilder's a great fight. Because if Wilder can't get rid of Joyce in the first 4 or so rounds, I think he's fucked. If he can't knock out Joe Joyce, can he keep him off him? Can he keep him at range? Can he outwork him? No, he can't. He'll get run over. If he can't knock Joe Joyce out early, he'll get run over, in my opinion. Great fight, though. Great fight. I'd love to see Joyce versus Wilder, Joyce versus Joshua, Joyce versus Fury, Joyce versus Usyk. Any one of these guys I'll be happy with. I'm doing good, bro. You ever wonder why boxers and MMA fighters don't take the full 5 minutes when they get fouled? It's a good question. I think a lot of it is pressure, like maybe the referees whispering in their ears. I think a lot of it is pressure to continue. Yeah, Fury versus Char's a fight that isn't worth illegally streaming. Yeah, exactly. And also, Manuel Charr right now is not ranked in the top 15 within the WBC, so watch this guy magically appear if Tyson Fury fights him. Crazy. Manuel Charr. Let's have a look at Manuel fucking Charr. Charr grilled chicken. Manuel Charr. Let's have a look. Manuel Charr. 37 years old. He's had about like 3 fights in 5 years, 4 fights in 6 years. Crazy. 4 fights in 6 years. Absolutely insane. His last 3 fights, Nikola Milikic, who the fuck that is, I don't know. Christopher Lovejoy and Alexander Ustinov. Dreadful, dreadful fighter. Yeah, Joyce needs to get the WBO off Usyk and then go to America and wall up Wilder on pay-per-view. He's got some options right now, Joe Joyce. He's in a good position. Basically, yeah. Basically, Char's highlights are getting iced by Povetkin and Briedis and botching a cartwheel in a leisure centre in Germany. That's basically it. That's basically it. How many BBWs have you slayed this summer? Not enough, Alex. Not enough. Yeah, Fury versus Char announcement would be hilarious. You know, there'll be a huge paragraphs from fanboys defending that fight. Yeah, exactly. There'll be people defending it, bro. There'll be people defending it. Like, if Fury wants to stay active, if you're gonna fight like a no mark, at least fight like a half decent no mark, like an Ajit Kabayel or a Martin Bacoli. You know, fight someone half decent. Fight someone half decent. I mean, Manuel Charr, Christ. Can we get a nevertheless? What's up, man? Big up to the sit down. Great podcast, by the way. I've started to listen to you when I'm working, by the way. When I'm like at work. I always need to find new podcasts, man. So I can see this scenario because of the styles. Joyce beats Usyk, Wilder beats Joyce, and Usyk beats Wilder. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows? But listen, bro. I'm telling you right now, Joe Joyce is not an easy fight for anybody. He's not. That's not me saying he beats everybody, but I just can't see anybody having an easy time with him, especially physically. Yeah, I've gone back to the dad, punched him a few times. Parker versus. That's a good fight, actually. I wouldn't mind that. Joe Parker versus Daniel Dubois next year. That's a good fight. That's a good fight. I'd watch that. Thoughts on Hiroto versus Kenshiro? Kayaguchi versus Kenshiro. I think Kayaguchi wins. I'll be honest with you, yeah. I've always felt Kenshiro has been a bit overrated. Not a particularly big puncher. I mean, he's all right, but I don't think he was like the guy who a lot of hipsters were saying he was. He's a good fighter, but no worries, man. No worries. Dave Allen is ranked higher on BoxRec than Manuel Charr. Fury versus Allen confirmed. Well, that goes to show what sort of guy Manuel Charr is. Again, I don't use the term that often, but he's a bum. He's a straight up bum, Manuel Charr. Absolute bum. Parker style-wise was the one I thought would give Joyce the most problems. I think he's nailed on to be a champion unless he's frozen out. That's the only thing with Joe Joyce. He's 37 years old. So the longer he's made to wait, obviously, is going to be worse for him. I was saying that after the fight, though, I wish Joe Joyce turned pro a bit earlier. I wish he turned pro earlier. But, it is what it is. What can you do? Yeah, it's going to be a long, drawn-out fight, archive of sorts. It's going to be a long, drawn-out fight. I would favour Kayaguchi. Like, I'm talking like prime for prime, best. If both guys are at their best, I would favour Kayaguchi, but maybe Kenshiro's got more in the tank at this stage. He probably does, actually. When's that fight taking place? Is that on the Inoue card? Is that on the Inoue card? I think it might be. Maybe I'm wrong. Fuck's sake. No, it's not. It's on a card of its own. Okay, cool. Why? Yeah, sorry, I got mixed up there. Yeah, I'm going to say Kayaguchi still. I'm going to say Kayaguchi. I meant to say Kenshiro had let more miles on the clock, by the way. I'm tired as hell. What can I say? No, I didn't. I don't really watch MMA that frequently. I do occasionally, but usually just for UFC. When there's like a big card. What's up, Vorlock? How you doing? November 1st main event. Yeah, in Japan, ESPN. That's a Tuesday as well. That's a Tuesday. It's not a bad card, actually. You've got Jonathan Gonzalez on the undercard, who's a fun fighter. Junto Nakatane's on the card as well in a 10-rounder against Francisco Rodriguez Jr. Now, Rodriguez Jr., I recall him fighting Kazuta Ioka, and he gave Ioka a really, really hard fight. So that's a decent card in Japan. That's a decent card. And you've also got Nakatani on the card as well, the lightweight. So he's fighting an unbeaten Japanese kid called Yoshino. I have not seen this Yoshino guy fight before. I say kid, he's 31 years old, but he's unbeaten. That's a good card. That's a good card. Like all four of those fights are competitive to a certain degree. Oh yeah, Paul Butler versus fucking Naoya Inoue. That's gonna be that's the most one-sided, undisputed fight since Crawford versus Indongo. But Inoue, I think it makes sense. Clean out the division and then go from there. It makes sense. It makes sense. Get that undisputed claim and then move up. I would say move up after that, unless he can get a fight with Casemiro. But if he can't get that, just move up. Okay, so you watch it for Muay Thai and kickboxing, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I am as well, Warlock. Is it just me, or are you guys completely fed up with all of the drama in boxing? Fury, Joshua, Usyk, Char, then Crawford, Spence, and then promoters with their BS and injuries. Yeah, exactly. I agree, bro. I just want to see good fights. I want to see good fights. That's all I want to see. And I want to see them frequently as well. I don't want to have to wait 3 months to get a decent fight and loads of shit in between. Don't want to see that. Like this year, I would say 2022 has been the year where I've watched the least boxing I've watched in many a year. Many a year. There's been cards I've not watched. There's been fights I've not watched, like Shakur Stevenson this past weekend. I just had no interest. I had no interest. I had no interest. I'll watch what I want to watch now. Beforehand, I would watch basically everything, but now I'll watch what I watch. Yeah, Nakatani though. Nakatani's taken so much punishment at lightweight. The lightweight Nakatani, he's taken so much punishment. That Lomachenko fight was desperately one-sided. So we'll see how he comes back. I think is that his first fight since? No, he's had one comeback fight since then. Okay. Okay, we'll see. That's a good card, though. That's a good card. Okay, so you see him beating Gonzalez. Yeah, Gonzalez, he's been around a long time. Or, well, a fair little while. He's been at a decent level. I've not seen the other guy fight before, so I'll have to take your advice on that one. Yeah, I know what you're saying, bro. I'm the same right now. So I still follow boxing. Like I still go on boxing scene every day. I kind of keep up to what is going on. But when it comes to the actual fights, it's like, again, beforehand, I would watch even like average shows. I would watch them just because it's boxing. But now, maybe it's just a phase. I still love boxing. I'll always love boxing, but maybe it's just a phase. And a lot of it is time as well. Time is also something I'm struggling with right now, to be honest with you. So maybe it's time as well, but I'm not feeling it right now, to tell you the truth. I'm not feeling it like I usually do. Then you have all of the YouTubers, Floyd, etc. Yeah, well, I'm not really bothered about that, to be honest. I think that can live in its own lane. I'm not bothered about that. I mean, it's worth a bet. Whatever the odds are, it's worth a bet. I don't blame you, Zion. I don't blame you. I muted the word fury on my Twitter timeline. Had enough of it. Yeah, so have I. Sick of his fanboys. I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of Joshua Fury. I'm sick of all this shit. Just make the fights. Whoever you're gonna fight, you're gonna fight. Stop fucking around. Bullshit, fucking nonsense. But these idiots are buying right into it, though. Clickbait videos every other fucking second. Embarrassing. Favorite boxer, I would say Artur Beterbiev, the man on the screen right now. Beterbiev, I would say. But again, that guy doesn't fight enough. I know he's injured right now, but fuck. Good evening, good evening, men and chat. Good evening, man and chat. Hopefully, you guys are well. Some great boxing nights this year, but far too few. Too many divas and way too much BS. Even with mates, when we put it on, it's mostly just main events. Yeah, exactly, bro. There's been some good. I've had some good times in boxing this year. I enjoyed. I enjoyed the previous weekend just gone. Conlon versus Lee Wood was good. There's been a few fights I've really enjoyed, but overall, to me, it's just been disappointing, dull, boring. You know, I don't think this year's been. Maybe I think it's just me because I've heard other people say it's been a great year. I think it's been average. I think it's been dull. Maybe I might become one of these fucking negative boxing channels and complain about everything. And again, guys, sorry for my voice as well. I think my voice might sound different. I'm kind of fucked right now. I don't feel particularly great. My thoughts on Maxi Hughes beating Galahad. Not really surprised, to be honest, considering Galahad went up 2 weight classes. Maxi Hughes, a guy who is got a decent work rate, decent fundamentals. I always felt Galahad would struggle. And I heard it was a close fight, but I'm not surprised the Maxi won. Yeah, and Beterbiev, Inoue, they are two of the most fun guys to watch right now, I would say. What other sports do I like? So I like MMA casually, and I like football or soccer, as the guys in the States call it. It's bad when Eubank versus Wee Nigel is starting to look exciting. Yeah, I will watch that as much as I complained about it. I will watch it. Will I pay for it though is the question. And I think you guys know the answer to that. I'm not paying for that shit. That undercard, by the way, is absolute cancer. Absolute cancer. You would think, yeah, that is basically DAZN UK's first major pay-per-view. That like highlights real boxing, not YouTuber shit. You would think they would put on a really good card, but the undercard is so bad. It's so bad. I mean, come on. But I hope Chris Eubank Jr. wins that fight. I hope Chris Eubank Jr. wins. I've enjoyed his trolling going into this fight. And also, to me, from Conor Benn's perspective, it seems like a super cynical cash out, trying to drain a guy and make him weaker. I hope he loses. Hope Chris Eubank Jr. wins and knocks him out. To be honest. But again, you know the narrative. If that happens, if Eubank Jr. beats Conor Benn and knocks him out, the narrative is already printed. The ink's already dry. It's fucking what? Oh, well, Conor Benn, he went up 2 weight classes. He was daring to be great, fighting a much bigger man, and he came up short. He can go back down to welterweight and do his thing. Dare to be great, Nonsense, man. Absolute nonsense. That's what it's going to be if he loses. You'll hear a lot of that phrase, dare to be great. 9 times out of 10, in boxing in 2022, if you hear the phrase, dare to be great, it's basically a fucking mismatch. That's what it's code for, is mismatch. Because we all know here, like, if Eubank Jr. was healthy, he would fucking smoke Conor Benn like a bag of weed. I didn't see that. I've not seen anything of that card, to be honest with you. But I don't disbelieve you, Randy Orton. Yeah, Beterbiev is my favorite as well. He's the only fighter I see taking away fighters' manhoods. Yeah, taking fighters' manhoods away. Yeah, he fucking just breaks them down. Slowly breaks them down, and then he stops them. Tonics, what do you think about the whole Deji versus Mayweather thing going around? Honestly, I don't particularly care. Deji, fair enough. Fair enough, I guess. Get the money. Get the money. I'd fight Mayweather in an exhibition. I'd get smoked like a fucking cigar, like a Cuban, but I'd fight him. Yeah, Lomachenko is fighting soon. He's fighting in October. And I think Haney is also fighting in October. So both guys win. Both guys are not injured. There's no reason Haney versus Lomachenko shouldn't happen next. That is perfectly achievable if both guys want it, but we will see. We will see. He's making easy money though, BM. Mayweather. I mean, if I was him and I had the opportunity, I would do the same thing. I'm retired, I'm 44, 45 years old, and some scrub YouTubers talking shit, and I can fight this guy. Why not? And get paid 20 million. Why not? Yeah, I heard that. I saw the highlights of like some dick punches. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I know people who train their whole life for that opportunity, and it never happens, and some dickheads get to jump in. Yeah, there's that as well, but I'm not really bothered about the whole YouTuber thing. I'm not really bothered about it. These actual fighters need to start fighting each other. I'll take a look, Brandon. When it comes to Discord, man, I'm rarely on it anymore, to be honest with you. But I will go back on it. I will take a look soon. But big up to Brandon. Big up to Brandon, man. Salute. Ben has no chin, and I think he really thinks he wins in a shootout, but with Eubanks. But I think Eubank KO mid rounds. I'd hope so. I would hope so. I'm rooting for Eubank or Eubanks. Eubank. Yeah, the undercards this year. Well, the undercards in the last few years have been the quality's been fleeting. It's like a chore now to sit for an undercard. It's like a chore. That's one thing the UFC do right on their big cards. Usually their undercards are pretty good. Is boxing in the future on the slide if it's banned from the Olympics? I don't think so, Crazy D3. I don't think so. It won't do it any good, but I wouldn't go that far. Embarrassing, Mike. Embarrassing. They are charging 20 quid for Eubank versus Ben. 4 female fights on the card. And a 6 out of 10 main event. Absolute joke. Hope it flops. So do I, but it's not going to. The casuals will buy it. I think it will do okay. Yeah, Andrade, as far as I'm concerned, Andrade should retire. I mean, he ducks Janabek because Janabek's a nobody, apparently. Brings nothing to the table. Cool. Wants to fight Zach Parker. Pulls out the original fight. Then the purse bid gets reorganized and a new purse bid occurs. Frank Warren wins the purse bid for like 300k. And he pulls out because it's not enough money. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Duck Janabek, where he would have got paid more than 300k. I mean, it's insane, man. He needs to retire. He needs to retire. But I still hear people, to this day, I still hear people crying the blues for Andrade. It's insane. It's insane. If he really wants that Canelo fight, which he's moaning about, win the WBO interim. Fight Zach Parker regardless of money. Fight him, beat him. Go from there. No, that's too risky. You can't put yourself out there and take a risk. God forbid. Just call a guy's name and hope he fucking picks up the phone. That's basically what it is. Andrade should retire. Shit career. Awful to watch. Talks more than he fights. Terrible for boxing. And there's too many like that in boxing as well. Big up to John. Yeah, Ben should have fought Avanesian, man, no doubt. But he's getting paid, and he's getting paid. So I understand why he's done it. Because again, if he loses, it's basically a free hit. You know the excuses that will come out and the narrative. Oh, he moved up 2 weight classes, daring to be great. You know, he wasn't. You know, he was always up against it. That sort of thing. We know the narrative already. So boxing needs real fights. Nobody cares about Golovkin versus Canelo 3 or Joshua versus Usyk. I haven't really looked forward to a fight in a while. Something like Crawford versus Spence or Eubank versus Canelo. Eubank versus Canelo is an interesting one. I personally, I Crawford Spence, I agree, but maybe not so much Eubank versus Canelo. I'll be honest. But I agree though. There's been very few fights this year to where I've really been hyped for. I'm trying to think. Actually, one recently which got called off was Lara versus Lee Wood. I was looking forward to that fight and it got fucking called off. Yeah, we will see. The Warriors Code. Yeah. Exactly. We don't even know how good Conor Benn is at welterweight. He's basically feasted on washed up guys years past their best. He's not beaten a Butayev, a Stanionis, a Kavalauskas. You know, these sort of guys. He's not beat these guys. So how good is he? He's got better, no doubt. Ryder Belanga's interesting. I think Ryder might expose Belanga, to be honest with you. Oh, sorry. They are talking about Ryder versus Belanga right now. I think Ryder beats Belanga, but Parker versus Ryder or Belanga, I would take Ryder over Parker, to be honest. Right now. Again, it's hard to say with Parker because he's beat nobody. Who's he beat? He's beat nobody. He looks flashy. He looks powerful. But who's he beat? Do you see a guy in Zach Parker who looks like special? I don't personally. He looks decent, but he's beat nobody. So again, it's one of those ones. Janabek's a nobody, but Luke Keeler and Jason Quigley were world beaters. Exactly. But that goes to show the problem in boxing today. When these guys are getting paid stupid money to fight bum fights. If I'm Andrade, right? If I'm Andrade and I get paid $1 million to fight Jason Quigley, why would I fight Janabek for 1.2? Makes no sense. That's what happens when you overpay these fighters. That's what happens. And that's the promoters are to blame. The TV networks are to blame. A lot of these guys are grossly overpaid. That's the reality. When's Andrade ever shifted like $1 million worth of tickets? That's what I'm saying. Why would you fight that sort of fight when you're getting paid silly money to fight bums? And again, that's the problem with boxing. That's the problem of its influx of new money. It was the same when PBC came around, when they overpaid certain fighters, and it was the same when DAZN came around. DAZN and PBC, people don't like to hear it, but they've basically ruined a generation of fighters due to their financial mismanagement. That's a reality. Like, you see these wankers on Twitter, these fucking waste men on Twitter for PBC fans and DAZN fans. Well, both companies, as far as I'm concerned, have caused significant damage to boxing with how they've fucking thrown money around. Crazy. But, you know, these cunts on Twitter and these wanker YouTubers, these wanker fucking boxing accountant YouTubers, they'll big up Eddie Hearn, they'll big up PBC. they'll suck dick to get a check, I guess. And that's it. Fucking waste men, a lot of them. That's how I see it anyway. Like, I mean, that's why I don't listen to even like boxing content creators anymore, because all I hear when I listen to boxing content, apart from a couple of channels, is pay-per-view numbers, A side, B side. Who's to blame for this fight not happening? Who's to blame for that fight not happening? That's all I fucking hear. I don't see any fucking like prediction videos anymore or shit like that. Nobody's actually talking about the fights, which is insane, but it is what it is. I guess you get more clicks by putting in the title, Eddie Hearn did blah, 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 etc. But it is what it is. Who gives a fuck, honestly? Who gives a fuck? Yeah, I'm disillusioned with boxing right now, I can't lie. Like with the Golovkin Canelo 3, right? I saw this on Twitter and it was so embarrassing. It was among the most embarrassing things I've ever seen from boxing fans. They were literally breaking down the costs over like the revenue of pay-per-view buys, ticket sales, potential international TV rights to either prove or disprove whether that fight made money. When the fuck did boxing fans ever do that? Who gives a fuck whether it made money or not? The reality was, it was a shit fight. Who gives a fuck about anything else? And these fucking idiots on Twitter fucking doing their little financial breakdowns. I'll tell you what, if they was that good with money in real life, they wouldn't be fucking broke. Fucking embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. Shall we go full heel on the boxing channel? We might go full heel. Let's call every fucker out. Because I need to make this more interesting for myself. I really do. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? I need to make it more interesting. See, that's what I'm saying. I listen to like interesting people when it comes to boxing. I don't listen to people who bring those normie discussions anymore. I'll be honest. A guy like Triple B, boxing based basement, or based boxing basement, sorry, I always get his name wrong, but that guy's hilarious. I like that guy a lot. Yes, Stanionis Butayev was a good fight, actually. That was enjoyable. That was a good fight. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch, to be honest. But they're talking about Virgil Ortiz versus Stanionis. That's a good fight. See, I can get behind that. Two unbeaten guys on the come-up. That's a good fight. Again, I'm not asking for like the world, but probably Eubank versus Ben. Andrade is the biggest waste of talent. Fight Benavidez next or retire. If he fights Benavidez, I'll be happy. If he fights Benavidez, I'll take it back. But if he sits out after like avoiding Parker, what was the point? What was the point? I wish I was in the position in life to where I could turn down like 200k and say like, fuck that shit, it's not worth it. That'd be sick, wouldn't it? That'd be sick. Hughie Fury. I thought he was fighting Michael Hunter. Has he pulled out again? Oh, man. Well, again, though, I got to be honest with Hughie Fury. Seems like a very nice kid. I have to preface that. But who really gives a fuck? What does he bring to the table? Is he entertaining? No. When was the last time you looked forward to a Hughie Fury fight? I'd rather wank with fucking sandpaper than watch that guy fight. Do you know what I'm saying? But listen, I liked the Michael Hunter fight. I did like that fight. I did like it. But still, man, this guy pulling out all the time and shit, inactive. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Yeah, I mean, I think not only that, bro, but I think people who fucking push that narrative should actually admit how wrong they were. Because the writing was on the wall a long time ago with Andrade. This is the same guy, people forget this, who agreed to fight Jermell Charlo and then later pulled out because of money. So he ducked Jamel Charlo. He ducked Janibek. He said that Erislandy Lara had a boring style and he wouldn't fight him. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black, right? But we're supposed to, like, everyone else is supposed to bow to his whims when he's not done fuck all. Who's he be? He is 33, 34 years old. And he's never beaten a world champion. That's a fact. Never beaten a world champion. And yet this guy's the boogeyman? Fucking hell. That's what I'm saying. Boxing fans praise mediocrity. Insane, man. Insane. It's insane. Was there no audio? There should have been audio. Stanionis jabs Ben's head off, and Butayev could very well outmuscle him and outlast him, yeah. Ben could outwork Stanionis, but Stanionis' jab, very hard jab. He does the basics well, Stanionis. Good balance, good power, decent timing. Again, I saw Rodriguez against Rungvisai, Quadras, but I've not seen his fight against Israel Gonzalez. I heard he was low blowing a lot against Gonzalez. But yeah, he's a good talent. He's a good talent. Terry from Highfield Boxing was saying on Porky's channel that both AJ and Fury are controlled by the same man, Daniel Kinahan. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. Okay, cool. Boxing Gems. I'll check him out. Yes, big up to Nordic, man. Salute. Yeah, exactly, bro. Boxing fans today are so jobless, yeah. Well, they've got to keep on pushing out these narratives extra hard then, because this financial crisis coming up, they're going to have to work overtime, bro. Madness. Madness. Wait until Huey gets his man strength, Del. He'll shock the world. We've been hearing for the best part of 10 years, oh, Huey's only Inza age. That is crazy. He's Benjamin Button, Huey Fury. Just stays young. He's getting younger. Yeah, you want payday. Yeah, exactly. That's one time where Canelo was right. So, salute BG London. I can't... What is going on here? This is so... Yeah, there you go. What's up, BG London? How you doing? Exactly, yeah. Because he signed to fight Jamel Charlo, and he pulled out. And he said he wouldn't fight Lara because Lara was boring. I mean, coming from Andrade. I'd much rather watch Lara fight than Andrade. My boy Sabriel Matias, man. It's hard to say because Devin Haney is a good boxer, but he's going to struggle with that pace against Matias. That's again, there's another thing right there. This guy's got a style in which anybody's going to enjoy. He's a killer, literally. Throws a billion punches, body head. He bludgeons people, changes their face. But no profile. Nobody wants to, nobody's pushing him. Nobody wants to see him fight. Yet these clowns who talk a lot and throw one jab every 2 rounds get all the fucking hype. It's insane. Because Matias ain't going to get no fucking fights. I'm telling you, he's getting fucking frozen out right now. Do you think any of these guys who are worth anything is going to fight Matias at 140? Of course not. They ain't going to fight this guy. He's a nobody who's fucking dangerous. Yeah, boxing is very unorganized. Yeah. And there's like multiple sanctioning bodies and this, that, and the other, different promoters. Wilder versus AJ, check. Bivol versus Beterbiev, check. Davis versus Stevenson. Garcia versus Haney. Yeah, the fights are out there. The fights are out. Sorry, fucking Albert. I've got a glass of Stella. The fights are out there, but again, there's no impetus. There's no impetus to make them happen, is there? There's no pressure, and that's a problem. You know, these clowns on YouTube like to call themselves like content creators and journalists and shit. Yet they'll shill for a certain promoter, and when you do that, you ease the pressure on them. If every content boxing creator was on the same page and they just wanted to see the best versus the best, regardless of promoters and all that shit, we would put a lot more pressure on these guys. I'm not saying all of these fights would happen because they won't, because there's the casual market who don't watch these sort of channels. But we would put a lot of pressure on these guys in boxing if everybody was on the same page. But again, I just hear apologists for certain promoters. I hear certain guys shilling for certain promoters. That's what it is now. You know, I can get an audience by shilling for Matchroom. I can get an audience by shilling for PBC, etc. That's all it is now. It's basically get on your knees, wear some knee pads and suck dick. That's what it is. A lot of knee replacements coming up soon in the YTBC. I had enough of these cunts, man. Seriously. Yeah, I would not be surprised if the same controlled AJ versus Fury. That happens a lot in boxing, manufactured rivalries. Yeah, facts. No idea, BG London, but again, he's another guy who, if he retired tomorrow, I wouldn't give a fuck. Wouldn't give a fuck if he retired tomorrow. Yeah, electricity bills are very high now. It's getting ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But again, what's the expression? Turkey's voting for Christmas. I hope these people, and they know who they are, you signed up for this, and people who didn't want this are paying for it as well. So fuck those people. That's on the warpath tonight. I think I woke up on the wrong side of bed. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, his fanboys would have a case if he didn't have a track record himself. They would have a case then at least. But no, this guy's turned down numerous fights. Numerous fights. But the boxing world is supposed to bow down and just give this guy a fight. I mean, if we're talking about Canelo, there are genuinely other fights I'd rather see him in. I'd rather see Canelo fight Benavidez. I'd rather see Canelo fight fucking Beterbiev or Bivol again. Even David Morrell or Charlo. He's not on the list, man. He's not on the list. It's that simple. That was it. I think... See, I'm not sure about Parker. I'm not particularly high on him, to be honest with you. But for $300,000, which was what the purse bid was, he's not going to risk it. He ain't going to risk it, is he? Must have AIDS or something, yeah. Yeah, Janabek is fighting Denzel Bentley soon. Fair play to Denzel Bentley. He's got to take the opportunity, but again, it's a mismatch. It's a mismatch. That's a good fight. See, that's a good fight. Matthias versus Ponce, yeah. That's got violence written all over it. That's a good fight. I would take Matthias, or Matthias, however you say it. But Ponce against Ritson beat the fuck out of him. But I think Matthias has more power. I think he's more physically stronger, more robust. It's a good fight, though. It's a good fight. I'll take that. Nobody BG London. Nobody at all. So we've got to wait till next weekend. Conor Ben Eubank. And there's a PBC card as well. There's a couple of good fights on the PBC card. Yeah, there's no recognizable names fighting this week. Lewis Neary, tune-up. But yeah, that's it. No, I think Golovkin will try and fight Munguia. He's cashing out. So yeah, Ponce had visa issues. That fight was supposed to be on the Wilder versus Helenius undercard, yeah. That's a shame because that would have been a really good fight. I would say Matchroom or PBC. That seems to be the going thing right now, Nordic. Because you're UK, just start shilling for Matchroom. Sorry, you'll be fine. That's what you got to do. Yeah, Channel 5 cards have been shit since Mick Hennessy left. And everybody insulted Mick Hennessy, but when he put cards on, they was usually pretty decent. At least for main event was. Basically, Nordic. Basically, he wants to cash out. That's a good fight. Now that is a good fight. Troy Williamson versus Josh Kelly. That is a good fight. That's in December. Okay, I'll give him that. That's a good domestic fight. See, we're not asking for much. We're not asking for much. But fights like that should happen more regularly in the UK on the domestic scene. They should happen more regularly. See, that's a good fight. Troy Williamson, a puncher, aggressive guy but flawed. Josh Kelly, very athletically gifted but flawed himself. It's a good fight. I agree. I think he should retire as well. He's made money. Why not? Just retire. Yeah, I think Bentley is a good, honest domestic level pro, but I think Janebek's going to time him too easily, man. Denzel Bentley really opens up and loads up with his power shots, particularly that right hand. He'll kind of square up at times and throw himself off balance. Against a quick counter-punching southpaw with power, I think he's going to be in a world of trouble. But again, he's got to take the shot, hasn't he? It's basically a free hit for him because he was never expected to get a world title shot. So he can take it, he can lose, and he can go back to domestic level. He's got to take that fight. I've like boxed. I've never like boxed properly, but like I've been in the gym, in and out of the gym for the best part now of like 9 years. I think his skills are overrated, to be honest. I said that in the Liam Williams fight. He looks great for 2 or 3 rounds, and then he loses shape, he gets ragged, he holds, he ducks below the waist, he slaps. Where's the technical ability that everyone talks about? He can barely throw a crooked punch. You know, I never understood the hype when it came to Andrade's boxing skills. He's awkward. He's not technically proficient. He's awkward. There's a big difference. Like Devin Haney is like technically proficient. He can throw straight punches. He can maintain range. He can box and he can move. He's got some decent fundamentals, but like Andrade has, his fundamentals are overrated. Massively overrated. In my opinion. Unlimited Matchroom Mongs for my channel. Yes, please. Hello, early retirement. Yo, bro, I wish I could have an early retirement right now. I'm telling you. It's going crazy out here. It's crazy out here. Nothing would make me happier than to like win the lottery and I buy a fucking cabin in like fucking Alaska or some shit. Yeah, I'm saying start a cult or something. That was a good fight, actually. That was a good fight. Yeah, Bentley versus Adofia. That was a good fight. But yeah, the Mick Hennessy days were underrated on Channel 5. They were underrated. He put on some good fights. Again, not high-profile fights, but good fights. Most of those Channel 5 main events back then were good. Yep, the zone's profile is so low, barely aware of Eubank Ben beyond a few Eubank eating videos on IFL. It's not the same as the Sky Sports machine. There's no doubt about it. I think that fight will do well though. Right now, Anderson Silva, like Diaz looked. Nate Diaz. Sorry, I thought you said Nick Diaz. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I still might go Silva. Yeah, Bentley's fighting Janabek. Yeah. Again, fair play to Bentley though, because he's fought the guys at domestic level. He's not the greatest fighter, but at least he takes fights. So fair play to him. Hopefully he gets paid. Hopefully he gets paid. He can buy a house or some shit. I got more respect for those sort of fighters than most of the top fighters right now. You know, you guys like Denzel Bentley. Because at least he fights people. At least he puts his balls on the line. Yeah, exactly. Big boys boxing. He would have got paid more money to fight Janabek than he would have done if he fought Parker. And now what? What's he doing now? What's he going to do now? Unless if he's got the Benavides fight, then I'll take back what I said. It makes sense because it's a bigger money fight and it's a much harder fight. If he fights Benavides, I'll take it back. But I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, retire with a Polish wife should be your goal. Yeah, facts. Facts, man. Can barely, one who can like just about speak English. Big up to Bruce, by the way. Salute, Bruce. How you doing? I bet he spends it on hookers and cocaine. Exactly. I like a guy like Denzel Bentley. He's a no nonsense guy. He is what he is. He's domestic level. But he's taken hard fights. He fought Felix Cash. Yeah, he got knocked out. Cool. He fought Adofia. He's fighting Janabek. Fair play to him. Fair play to him. I've got more respect for a guy like that than a lot of these top guys who sit on a belt and play politics. At least he earns his money. At least he earns his money. He could be. I mean, middleweight right now is dire. You've got an ancient Golovkin, Jamal Charlo who's not fighting, Janabek who's won a vacant title, and you've got the likes of Chris Eubank Jr., Munguia. It's not a great division. Not a great division. But hopefully we get some new blood in the middleweight division in the next couple of years because it desperately needs it. It desperately needs it. Middleweight is a ghost town. This is like the weakest middleweight division that I can remember in a long time. It's probably been the weakest middleweight division since I've been watching boxing. I'm trying to think. It probably is. It probably is the weakest since I've been watching boxing. For middleweight division. Andrade versus Cornflakes. Yes, please. Janabek, who? That's it. But there'll be fans who literally say that. Nordic. There will be fans who literally say that, well, Janabek was too risky for the money. Who gives a fuck? I'm not getting paid. It's madness. Yeah. Jarrell Miller's fighting Ebenezer Tete on Sunday in like Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan. Insane. It's crazy. He's getting around, man. He's getting around. And funnily enough, he's been more active than most like top heavyweights in the last few months. Jarrell Miller. He's had a couple of comeback fights. Now he's having his third. It's crazy. So Jarrell Miller can get a fight in Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan. Where the fuck is this? I want to see where this is at, actually. Because there's a weird card going on this weekend in like one of those countries on Sunday. See, this is how fucked boxing is, right? Across all levels and in most countries. Let's have a look. So yeah, on Sunday in Kazakhstan, Jarrell Miller, heavyweight, is fighting Ebenezer Tete in Kazakhstan. So you're telling me Jarrell Miller can get a fight in Kazakhstan, but Ivan Dichko can't? Somebody from Kazakhstan, a bronze medalist in the Olympics, he can't get a fight? It's madness. What's going on? What the fuck is going on? To quote Nick Hennessy. Again, I mean, listen, the less said about him, the better. His hymen is about his integrity is about as intact as fucking some crack horse hymen. That's what I was about. That's what I was supposed to say. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, let's just ignore him ducking Lara. Let's ignore him ducking Janibek. Let's ignore him ducking Jermell Charlo. Zach Parker now. Let's ignore all of that. And yeah, fucking ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Yeah, they wheeled out Tete again. He got last I saw of him, he got leveled by Dubois. he got fucked up. Yeah, there's a few good fights there, like Munguia versus Janibek jumps off for me at least. That's a great fight. Charlo versus Janibek's a great fight. Charlo Munguia. There are good fights there, don't get me wrong. Exactly, but Buatsi Yard. Why the fuck is that not happening? None of these guys, none of those guys has really done shit at domestic level. They've never had a big domestic fight. Whereas back in the day, that was all of the rage. Was these guys would fight each other before they fought for a world title. But now, I mean, you know, get some inflated fucking Serbian guy over with a polished record, win a sanctioning body title like an international title, get a ranking, fight a couple of has-beens, and you get a world title shot. ThereThere's no risky fights on the way up anymore. Like the domestic scene in the UK, in my opinion, it's we're not getting those sort of fights anymore. Like Groves versus De Gale. Those sort of fights don't matter. Like it's not if you lose that sort of fight, if you're good enough, you'll come again. If you fight guys like that early on and you lose and you're good enough, you will come again. Like James De Gale, he lost that fight, but he was good enough and he won a world title. That never affected his career in the long run. Why are these fights not happening? These big domestic fights, not these fucking inflated domestic fights like Eubank Ben, but like Yard Buatsi. Why are these fights not happening? It's crazy. Yeah, it's watered down. It's watered down. Charlo was a good fighter, Jermell Charlo. Good boxer puncher, but he's not fought. He hasn't fought since what, last year? End of last year? Or summer of last year, I think. Again, I don't think that guy's getting any better. I think he's got worse since the Julian Williams fight. Because in that Julian Williams fight, Jamal Charlo looked great. He looked dynamic, he looked quick, he looked powerful, and he looked like a guy who could go on to do some really good things. What's he done since then? Who's he beat since then? Top of your head, go. Derevyanchenko, that's about the best you can name. And that's been like a 6-year span, by the way. I think he fought Julian Williams in 2016. And the best guy he's fought since then is Sergey Derevyanchenko. That says it all. And a Derevyanchenko who had lost, 2 of his last 3 fights going into it. And that's the best guy he's beat since then. There you go. Yeah, I think Jamel. I agree. I think Jamel should stay at super welterweight. There's better fights there because he can fight Tim Tszyu. He can fight Sebastian Fundora. There's a couple of fights right there that people would like to see. So if I'm Jamel Charlo and I can still make weight relatively comfortably, I'll stay at 154. Build a legacy. You know, he's undisputed right now. Try and build on it. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. And those two guys, those brothers, their careers, man. Like way back in the day, everybody was saying, "Oh, Jamel sucked," and Jamal was like the truth. And look at how their careers have panned out. Jamel's had a much better career. At least he's fought people. Yeah, he's had a hiccup in Tony Harrison and the first Castano fight, but at least he's fought guys. At least he's fought guys. What's up, Shazar? How you doing? Yeah, the domestic scene here has so much potential, but it's awful because we don't get the fights as much. We get a few here and there, but not as many as we should. I agree. We get the odd one, like we had Joyce versus Dubois, Yard versus Arthur. We've had a couple recently, but again, we're talking a couple a year. I think Tony Harrison now's done. Having said that, he's coming off a good win actually over Sergio Garcia. He's coming off a good win, Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison's one of those weird fighters, though. He's so hot and cold. He's got an unbelievable jab, Tony Harrison. He can really box, but his gas tank, man, just lets him down in like the hard fights. And then his chin does. But yeah, Harrison, we'll see what he does soon. Yeah, there's those fights as well. Madrimov and Kurbanov versus Jamel. Yeah, I mean, Jamel's got fights at 154. He's got fights at 154. And who knows, maybe way down the line, let's say if Crawford beats Errol Spence, maybe Crawford moves up. If I'm Jamel Charlo, I'll stay at 154 if I can make the weight okay. I stay at 154. Because he's got fights there. If he goes to 160, what's he going to do? Yeah, Jamel is more reliant on his explosiveness, I guess I would say, and size and strength. But he can stick and move a little bit at times. He does have underrated timing, I would say, Jamel Charlo. He's got some tricks in his toolbox. Oh yeah, I agree, crazy. I agree. Tony Harrison would school Danny Garcia. Um, I've given up predicting Tyson Fury now. To be honest with you, Shazar, I would say, listen, he's not going to fight Joshua. I'll say that much. He won't fight Joshua this year. That's all I'll say. That's my prediction. I think that fight's a war. Big boys boxing. I think that fight's a war. I can't see that being a bad fight. You know, Fundura's size, his punch output, he's gonna, and he's one of those guys who he doesn't really use it. He'll get on top of you, Fundora. He'll try and work you, outwork you on the inside. He'll maul you, and Jamal can engage in that sort of fight. I think that'll be a great fight. I think Fundora, obviously, bigger, stronger man with a greater work rate, but I would say that Jamel still probably has like the more telling power in that fight. I know he's much smaller, but I'd say he's got the more telling power. That'd be a war. Right now, yeah, Janabek is the only guy to get excited about at middleweight. He's the only bit of fresh blood, new guy, and but yeah, I'd love to see Fundora versus Jamel Charlo. Yeah, we was talking about that earlier, Nordic. Again, though, there'll be people out there defending it. They'll be trying to, they'll make some case how Manuel Char's really good and this, that, and the other. But yeah, just stick. Why not just like fuck all this shit off and just talk to Alexander Usyk's team and get this fight on early next year? Why not just do that? Why is there this aversion to making Usyk versus Fury? Why not just like fuck this fight off this year and fight Usyk early next year? Why not? He's being Tyson Fury, BM. He's just being Tyson Fury. What can I say? Char versus Fury gets me interested just because of how much of a farce it is. Shades of Allen versus Lovejoy, yep. Or Brown versus Miller, yeah. Yeah, facts. Fucking hell. I mean, that's gonna be a disaster, seriously. When people see that play out on their TV screens and they've paid for it, that's gonna go down like a fucking lead balloon, I'm telling you. Because Manuel Char is dreadful. Dreadful. Even in his prime 10 years ago when he fought Vitaly Klitschko, he was shit then. And he's even shitter now. If you can stomach it, go back and watch his fight with Ustinov. And Ustinov is a bum himself. And that fight was just awful. That was 5 years ago. Exactly, Nordic, yeah. Exactly. I'd love to see that fight. But again, I say what I want about Fury, but I don't think he's daft. I think he knows that's a hard fight. Who have you got if Ryder takes the interim fight with Parker? I'd probably lean towards Ryder, to be honest. I'll lean towards Ryder. Again, Parker looks good against limited opposition. But Ryder's been battle tested. He's fought some good guys. He's tough. He's durable. He's got an underrated defense. He's good on the inside. Good tight guard. I would probably take Ryder. See, that's a fight I can get behind. I think Charlo's going to obliterate Zhu. Zhu is so limited and just walks into punches, and he's so slow. Charlo's explosiveness and timing will win him it. I would tend to agree, but I don't think it's going to be quite so easy because Tim Zhu has decent straight punches, particularly with his jab. He's pretty good at maintaining range. I think he'll trouble Jamel Charlo. But I agree. I can envisage a scenario where it's a competitive fight, and out of the blue, Charlo lands a big shot and knocks him out. Decent fight though. Yep, Char has had 2 fights against nobodies in 5 years, and the WBC still rank him. Yep. Yeah, 2 rounds in the last 5 years. Crazy. Yeah, boxing is it's a bit dead right now. I hope you're right. I listen, man. I hope that fight doesn't happen. Seriously. Again, if Fury wants to stay active, right, and he wants to fight a lesser guy, just fight a Caballero. At least Caballero is unbeaten. You know, he's awkward. He's half decent at least. He's half decent. Fight Martin Bakole. Again, half decent. But Manuel Char. I mean, Manuel Char. I think Manuel Char would get knocked out by some dudes on outside a kebab shop on a Friday night. I agree, Kevin Fuentes. Big hype job. They're also talking about John Ryder versus Edgar Berlanga. I think John Ryder beats him. I think John Ryder exposes that guy. I really do. John Ryder's a guy who he's not elite. He's not top 5, but if you're not at a certain level, he will expose you. And I think he'll expose Berlanga. I really do. I think he'll expose him. Parker wins on points versus Ryder, but has a lot of problems late in that fight. I could see that. I would think Dubois wouldn't feel like a champion, even a Reggie champion, before rematching Joyce. Yes, well, you would hope so, Bruce. You would hope so, but he's not going to go anywhere near Joyce again. I mean, Dubois is supposed to fight end of this year, and I wonder against who. Again, a Caballero type for Dubois would be ideal. Someone like a Caballero or an Otto Wallin. Those sort of guys for Dubois would be ideal. Yeah, he slowly stepped up, Tim Zhu. Slowly stepped up. Manuel Char has his own theme song. Yeah, probably BG London. Yeah, I bet she is happy when Tyson's away. The guy's an idiot, man. Maybe. I had a thought. Maybe Frank is in his ear telling him to talk about Char to make Char versus Dubois. A Char versus Dubois fight more talked about. Wishful thinking, but I wouldn't be too angry about that. I'll be real, yeah. I'd be against Dubois versus Char. I think Char is that shite. I really do. I think he's awful. Dreadful fighter. Bum. You know? Like if I'm looking at Dubois, again, a Caballero, an Otto Wallin, guys in and around that level, you know? That's perfectly acceptable in my opinion. That sort of guy. Yeah, Berlanga's already been exposed. Ryder whoops him. Yeah, Ryder will put the cherry on the cake. He'll knock him out. That is true, yeah. Char is owed that WBA regular title shot. Yeah, he is. That's a good shout. Is Frezequendo still ranked by the WBA? Have a look at the WBA heavyweight rankings. Let's have a look at this monstrosity. WBA rankings heavyweight. August rankings. Which are the latest ones? Heavyweight. No, he's not. But as I called a long, long time ago when people were crying about Jarrell Miller is ranked by the WBA at number 14. There you go. There you go. Dubois versus Char would be a fight that makes sense. Char's chance to win his regular belt back. Again, honestly, bro, I think Char is that shit. I wouldn't be happy if Dubois fought him. I think Char is a dreadful heavyweight. Dreadful. Probably one of the worst fighters I've seen challenge for a heavyweight title. I think he's that shit. Bum fighter. I mean, I would take a Fraser Clark to beat Manuel Char right now. But again, they're not going to put Daniel Dubois anywhere near Frank Sanchez. They're not going to put him anywhere near him. Frank Sanchez, awkward, rangy, can box and move, hard to hit clean, can move for 12 rounds. Yeah, they're not going to make that fight. I'd like to see it. Yeah, it would. Yeah, exactly. Would Manuel Char beat Nathan Gorman? I don't think he would at this point in time. I don't think he would. What's up, Boxing Squared, man? By the way, Boxing Squared, talking about heavyweights, great heavyweight channel. Probably, well, he is the premier heavyweight channel on YouTube. So check out Boxing Squared. Yeah, the last time he fought was Ruslan Shagayev in Chechnya in 2014. And yeah, he was ranked for so many years afterwards because of that legal situation. Okay, so they dropped Frezequendo a couple of years ago. Yeah, he basically was in the rankings at least for 5 years after he last fought and lost. It's crazy. I think Dillian's going to sign with Sky, BG London. I've got a feeling he's going to sign with Sky. And I can see a Joseph Parker Dillian White fight on Sky. Because Joseph Parker's got a contract with Sky. I think both guys will have a comeback fight and they'll fight each other. That's what I think will happen. And I think it makes sense right now for both guys. Yeah, Char in his prime was stopped in 4 rounds by a 41-year-old partially retired Vitaly Klitschko. That says it all, really. Perfect opponent for Fury. Yep. Yeah, the old WBA regular. Johnny Fisher would knock out Manuel Char. Now, Johnny Fisher, do we go that far? It's possible. I'll say as much as it's possible. And I don't rate Johnny Fisher. And I can't. Every fucking IFL video, his dad's on those fucking intros. But there were 5 blokes outside my front door. I fucking hell. Yeah, of course it will. We machines. They'll milk it. Yeah, they'll put it on pay-per-view. They'll put that fight on pay-per-view. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the legal situation surrounding that was. I don't think it was to do with a decision. I think there was something else to it. But yeah, I watched that fight on, I think it was on Box Nation. Manuel Char versus Jermaine Franklin would be competitive. Yeah, I don't rate Jermaine Franklin. I think he's bad. He was supposed to fight Stephen Shaw at one point in time. I think Stephen Shaw would have knocked him out, to be honest. Yeah, Sakalovsky's fighting Fraser Clark. Yeah, that's a good little fight for Fraser. Yeah, I think that will happen, Toby. I think it will happen. I think it will happen. It makes sense to me. Yeah, Sakalovsky probably beats Char off the couch. What's up, John? How you doing, man? Hopefully you're keeping well, John. My favourite Texan. I've got to get out there soon, John, man. This country is falling apart before we know it. It's falling apart, man. You need to set me up, John, with some like big booty Latina, and I'll go out there. If it's on pay-per-view, then it will certainly need to have a good undercard. Yeah, and then some. And then some. Fisher Sr. versus Charles at 50-50. You're probably not wrong, Nordic. John Fury versus Manuel Char would be more competitive than Tyson versus Char. Yeah. I don't get how Manuel Char has remained relevant for so long. Don't get me wrong. He's never been on the tip of he's never been on like the tip of everyone's tongue, but his name always crops up now and again. It's bizarre. Bizarre. I guess fair play to him. I guess fair play to him. Big John beats him. Didn't see it, Carolina Reaper. Retype it. It might not have come through on StreamYard. Oh no, I have seen it. Sorry, man. Because they'll pick and choose Carolina Reaper. All of a sudden, if that fight gets signed, or a week before that fight gets signed, Manuel Char will miraculously appear in the WBC rankings. That's how it always works. They'll randomly insert a guy top 15 when a fight happens. Yeah, it won't do well. It won't do well. Yeah, Manuel Char must have mafia backers. Yeah, must do. He must do. Manuel Char has over 1 million followers on Instagram. Fucking hell. Where's he from? Where's Manuel Char originally from? Is he from Syria? I guess that makes sense. I think he's from Syria. Yeah, Syria originally. No, Lebanon, sorry. Lebanon. Well, that makes sense. I can see why they'd get behind him. Looking back through his record now, 2015 was like, I remember that year because he was on a lot of Russian cards. He lost to Duhaupas. He beat Alex Leopai, got knocked out by Briedis. Obviously got knocked out by Povetkin. And he beat Michael Grant. What card was that on, that Michael Grant fight? I feel like I saw that fight. I miss those like random Russian cards from like 2014, 2015, when Povetkin was headlining, and it would always be a good undercard. So yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, Manuel Char fought Michael Grant on a Povetkin undercard in 2015. Madness. Yeah, he's lived in Germany most of his life. He got shot, bro. He was so somebody was trolling him online. He went to meet them and they shot him. Yeah, how are there? Yeah, exactly. How are there 1 million people alive who know about Manuel Char? It's insane. He looks like it. Do you know who Manuel Char looks like? I was looking at some post he done when he called out Tyson Fury. He looks like an Arabian Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's what he looked like. Yeah, Florian Marku, he has to have Albanian mafia links. Has to. Those Albanians, you don't fuck around with them. You don't fuck around with those guys. They run a lot of shit out here on the streets. They're not to be fucked with. Yeah, the Russian cards were awesome and brutal. Great fights, yeah. I miss those cards, Nordic. It was 2014, 2015 when they were in their in their prime, those sort of cards. Because it was Ryabinski who was funding them. And you had like usually Povetkin headlining, and they always had strong undercards. They always had strong undercards. I can knock out Char in 7. He does, yeah. Manuel Char. Manuel Char looks like the Giga Chad guy. He does. He does. To be fair though, Manuel Char, no homo, he is a bit of a Giga Chad, isn't he? Let's be honest. He is a bit of a Giga Chad. Let's have a look at this guy, Manuel Char. He's like the bootleg Giga Chad guy. That's what he is. We're gonna be team Giga. We're gonna be team fucking Giga Char. Fucking hell. There you go. Giga Char. Manuel Giga Char. Maybe he is a Giga Chad guy. Who the fuck knows? Yeah, he does. He looks like the Giga Chad guy. It's the same reason Ryan Garcia has followers, but pirates. I don't think they play that shit in the Middle East, man. Fuck it, I'm Team Gigachar against Fury. Manuel Char cruises soccer games for MILFs in his 1986 Camaro. I think Zerdo Ramirez is the closest thing to Giga Chad. Zerdo Ramirez. No, I think Manuel Char looks more like Giga Chad. Yeah, Team Giga Char t-shirts and shout to the Fury fighting force. Fury might beat Char, but he's still ugly and will never be a Giga Char facts. Giga Char's already won the fight. He's won. Oh man. Listen, Manuel Char, he's a tough guy, man. He's tough as hell, but he can't box, man. He can't. He's a tough guy, but that's about it. Can you imagine the scenes if Char won? Uh Giga Char is who Paris thinks of in the tub. Oh man. Exactly, yeah. Frank Warren must know that Fury versus Char loses money hand over fist. Can't imagine he wants any part of it. Remember when ESPN said no to Caballero versus Fury for a December fight a couple of years ago? Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Maybe it's just bullshit. Maybe it's bullshit. Because, like you say, it's not going to do any numbers. Unless Fury drastically reduces his purse demands, which I can't see. But yeah, we'll see. Toby might have had a good theory on Manuel Chavo. Maybe his name's being banded around to potentially fight Daniel Dubois. That kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense to me. Pulev sweeping that horrendous Asian broad off her feet, and then forcibly kissing her was a Giga Chad move, to be honest. Yeah, Pulev, no fucks given. No fucks given, Kubrat Pulev. That's how he operates, man. That's how he operates. I think he got hit a few too many times, though, to make that decision. But each to his own, I guess. Each to his own. You know? Each to his own. Yeah, I was saying this earlier. I think Dubois versus Char is terrible, let alone Fury. It's madness. Chad Pulev. Yeah, I think Ben's doing whatever now. He won't fight Florian Marku. Marku's on Sky. Ben's on the Zone. It's not going to happen. You might be right, Toby. You might be right. Pulev versus Char, Battle of the Alphas. Yeah, if it was like an apocalypse scenario and you had to choose a heavyweight boxer, you wouldn't go far wrong with like a Pulev or a Char. You know, as like one of your henchmen. You couldn't go that far wrong with those two. Yeah, exactly. He wasn't great when he fought Vitali way back when, but you know he's washed now, absolutely washed. I remember watching his fight with Alexander Ustinov because that was on Box Nation, I believe, and I couldn't believe watching that fight that it was for a WBA regular title. I couldn't believe it. Like the quality on show was so poor, so poor. Yeah, he's had a couple of fights here and there. He beat Kevin Johnson, for example, but he's done fuck all. But I heard though with Ajit Caballero, this is what I heard. Apparently, Caballero is successful outside of boxing. Like he's got businesses and shit like that. Apparently, the guy's like a multi-millionaire, so probably doesn't need boxing. So he beat Chisora in November of 2017, and since then, he's had 5 fights. Best names are Andre Rudenko and Kevin Johnson. So there you go. Oh yeah, Valuev as a henchman would be ideal. Yeah, Pulev, ultimate ladies man. Okay, so he's got a Puma deal as well. Yeah, so Caballero is doing bits anyway. Like he's making money by sounds of it. Yeah, it doesn't feel like that long ago, does it? It doesn't feel long ago. But yeah, I mean, he's done nothing since then. Nothing at all. That's actually interesting, actually. Let's have a look quickly at heavyweight. I wanna see something here. Let's have a look at BoxRec. On BoxRec, the youngest heavyweight inside the top 20 is Daniel Dubois, and he's 25. Nobody else in the top 20, according to BoxRec's rankings, are under 30, apart from Dubois. Madness. Absolute madness. Yeah, if that fight's real, Andrew Tate would beat KSI. I'd imagine he would beat KSI in a boxing match. Yeah, Dubois 25 now. Yeah, it doesn't seem right, does it? I recall him turning pro. How old was he when he turned pro? Was he 19? Maybe 19? So he's 25 now. And he turned pro start of 2017. So he's about 19, like towards the end of 19, early 20s, early 20. Yeah, I thought he was 19 as well. And fun fact, he's only 3 years younger than Hughie Fury. Obviously, Canelo. Hang on, Robin Krasniqi got his loss overturned. Against who? Jesus, Robin Krasniqi, man. He's been around for so long. Nathan Cleverly. I remember Nathan Cleverly fighting this guy best part of 10 years ago. Fucking hell. It's mental. Absolutely mental. Yeah, Canelo can't make 155. Do you think those rich Arabs would get behind Jalalov and make him a cash cow? He's from any from Uzbekistan. I mean, maybe they could have him fight in that sort of region. I guess maybe. Hang on. Has he got a fight coming up? He's Uzbekistani. Sorry. I wouldn't be surprised. He's had a couple of fights in Dubai already. No, he hasn't got a fight coming up. But he's moved quite well in his last couple of fights. He knocked out Sakalowski, and after that, he knocked out Jack Mulawai, who's a tough journeyman. Mulawai doesn't usually. Well, that's the first time he got knocked out. He's decent. He is. Like Mulawai took Frank Sanchez for distance. He knocked out a prospect, Apti Davtayev, and Jalalov fucking smoked him. His next fight's in the UK. Okay, yeah, he's Muslim. Yeah, he is Muslim. Yeah, from Uzbekistan, he would be. It's predominantly Muslim in that region. So yeah, it could make sense for him to fight in like Dubai and Saudi Arabia. Oh, he's got a fight in the UK. Do you mean Jalalov? Yeah, Krasniqi's okay. Yeah, he's one of those guys. I think Frank Sanchez, he's not going to get a big fight until he gets a Mando spot. But until then, he's going to struggle because stylistically, he's never going to garner attention. He's never going to be a big name. And with that, he's very risky as well because he can box. So Frank Sanchez, yeah, he needs to get in a Mando spot until he gets a really big fight or a chance to like gate crash for big leagues. Because he can box, he can really box. He schooled F.A. Ajagba, dropped him, outboxed him. He can box. I know he's not for everybody, but his style will give a lot of guys trouble. Okay, so yeah, he's. I think that's the Liverpool card. I think that's the Liverpool card. I want to say. So that's good. That's good. He's interesting. Jalalov, 6'7" southpaw, decent feet, very good power, good straight punches, good counter puncher. He's a good fighter. He's definitely a good fighter. I think Albanian boxer. Yeah, I think Vitali not that early. I think AJ would need to be chopped down, but I think a prime Vitali would probably. I think he would just outlast AJ, and stop him 7, 8, 9-ish area. I would say. I just can't see. I can't see Joshua coping with that kind of that herky jerky movement, the output. Sorry, the angles, the constant jab, getting peppered. I couldn't see Joshua winning that fight personally, and that lead hand of Vitaly Klitschko was so confusing, so active. I would take Vitaly in that fight confidently. I would take Vitaly. It's a shame Vitaly like came around a bit too early or a bit too late, however you want to say it. But is what it is. Unpopular opinion. David Tua knocks out Mike Tyson. I disagree. I mean, listen. I mean, he's got the power to like late on, but I think he'll just get outworked. I think he would get outworked. Oh yeah, he was supposed to fight Wilder way back in the day, but he failed a drug test. And the only other thing I remember from him, he got knocked out by Povetkin, I believe. I'm not going to try and say his name. Andres Warzuk. Warzuk. I'm going to say Warzuk. Yeah, he got knocked out by Povetkin. I remember that. I think he might have fought Albert Sosnowski, if anybody remembers him. But yeah, he's not a great fighter. I don't know why he's coming back. What would possess you at that age when he was that shit in your prime to come back? Like, do you think these guys delude themselves like to the point where they think they can be somebody? He fought both for fucking hell. Yeah, that's the only thing with Jalalov. His conditioning is a bit concerning. Oh, David Tua is over £400. Jesus. He was always a big guy, but fucking hell. I remember when he came back and he fought Ustinov and got fucking outboxed. So shot. But David Tua was a good fighter, man. I don't feel like we have those sort of contenders anymore. Those sort of super dangerous contenders who can't, guys kind of feared. I don't feel like we have those guys anymore. Like your David Tuas, your Ray Mercers, those sort of guys. I don't feel like we have those sort of fighters in the heavyweight division right now. Because Tua was a scary guy to fight. I don't care how limited he was. That left hook was fucking scary. And he had a great chin as well. Granite chin. Yeah, I watched that fight again. I think it was on Box Nation back in the day, and yeah, it was such a boring, dull fight. Really dull fight. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. I am so fucking tired. I ain't working tomorrow, so I'm gonna have an early night. I'm gonna have an early night, get my beauty sleep, and yeah, been fun catching up. I'll try and stay active on this channel. Probably not this week because nothing's happening, but next week we'll pick it back up. Do a Eubank video, Eubank Ben video, prediction, etc. But yeah, have a great weekend, guys. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stay safe, etc., etc. Peace.